A very good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, now you can start your session. Thank you.
Okay. Should I start the video? Is that okay? Video on kar lo. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we are starting our session and the title is Information Literacy in the Age of Machine Learning. So welcome all, welcome to this training on this day, and I hope that this is an hour-long training, and I hope that you will enjoy the training. So starting with because we cannot interact, so I'll ask you some questions and you will have to respond on chat or through, thumbs up in any way. I'm not that well acquainted with WebEx. I'm more acquainted with Zoom and Google Meet. So I'll try to fit in somehow. And okay, so let me start first by asking if you can chat and answer your this thing. What do you mean by information literacy, or what do you mean by media literacy? Anybody? So I'm just have a look. I'm just having a look at the chat windows. So I just want one answer in one line, maybe a short one. What do you understand by information literacy or media literacy? I think people are still joining in. So everybody's in the good evening mode. But anyway, so we'll start. Information literacy kya hai? So yeah. So we'll answer that question, of course. But to start with, my name is Antara Bose, and I'm a GNI certified Fakshala India Media Literacy Network trainer. And I train people and communities on media literacy, also known as information literacy. So yes, anybody watching this photo on the screen, who is it? Okay, knowledge about media. The answers are coming, but coming late. So who do you see on screen right now? Use of media or information, okay. Subhash Chandra Bose, yes. But did he take a selfie? No. The next picture is Mahatma Gandhi, of course. But, US-based AI expert created these images just for fun. But then there are many people who actually fall for this pic. These are all AI generated pictures created for fun, and he has created a series of these pictures featuring Pandit Nehru, Baba Rao Ambedkar, and there are many Indian freedom fighters who have, he's created a series of these freedom fighters. So yes, we are in the age of AI. ठीक है, तो आज जो information हमें मिल रही है, आगे जाके वो जो line है सच और झूठ का, वो और धुंधला होते जाएगा, because anybody watching these pictures on the internet will actually believe, for the, you are teachers, you are aware, so maybe you know that these are AI generated images, but there are many in this country who do not know that these are AI generated images, and they fall for this thing. So in the course of the training, we will also discuss about how to identify information, process information, and how to identify false information also. So by media literacy and information literacy, we mean how to process and analyze the information that we are coming across in our daily lives. I'm sure that everybody has a smartphone, everybody watches TV, everybody has access to the internet, right? But we don't know what the line and where the line between the facts and these kind of images or fake news comes in between. So that line has become very, very vague, and now with the training we'll be more equipped to know whether something is false or something is true. Of course there are advanced training also, but this is a basic training to make you understand on how to actually identify fake news. So we'll proceed. So this is an image that you're seeing. This is a very interesting image which went viral about a few months ago. So this is Varun Dhawan and Samantha Ruth Prabhu meeting our president, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, in Serbia. But now the left side of the image, the left side image was circulated on internet. I came across this image through a friend, where they said that Varun Dhawan, and because Draupadi ji is a tribal, so they went to meet the president in this tribal attire. But it was untrue, it was false, because somebody used Photoshop and did all this thing. The real image is on the right hand side. So every day we come across such pictures, such videos, such information, which is not true, but it looks as if it is true. So we will understand what is true and what is untrue, both the process that I'll be telling you in the training. So this is a viral picture because see, whenever there's a picture like this, we have a lot of emotion because people in my state, this we are in Jharkhand, so they kept started saying that, अच्छा इन लोगों ने अपने भारतीय और खास करके ट्राइबल परिधान पहन के इन्होंने द्रौपदी जी से मिला, and there was a lot of emotion that was evoked, right, with this, but that was not true. So these kind of images are very, very common. So we are talking about information literacy, and of course, information is a huge, huge weapon today. So what does information do? It is access to reliable information, uh, access to reliable information in the lifeblood of just society and a robust democracy. So if you have a good information, if you have access to good information, then it only is empowers you and it helps you build a robust democracy. So without information, people can neither understand nor effectively respond to the events that shape their lives and world. For example, if you do not know, if you hadn't known कि COVID का vaccine कहाँ मिल रहा है, तब आपको नहीं पता होता आप कहाँ जाते. If you don't know कि exam forms, university के exam forms कब निकल रहे, you don't know. School का भी अब सब school से हो, तो school का भी एक अपना information dissemination system रहता है. So information आज के दिन में is a very, very important tool that you use to be updated in your life, right? So it empowers you. Do you agree? I guess all agree. Okay, so this is a quick scenario of what we are in what situation we are in. So there are 9 billion estimated searches on Google every day. And mind you, this is the 2022 stats. Maybe this is updated and the figures are more now. So 9 billion estimated searches on Google every day. There are 500 million 500 million people use Instagram stories every day. 7,600 tweets are posted on Twitter every second. 1 billion hours of videos are watched on YouTube every day. 100 billion messages are sent through WhatsApp every day, and 1.91 billion people use Facebook daily in 2022. So you understand in what tsunami we are in the information tsunami. So we also call it infodemic because like you would have heard the term pandemic by now. Everybody is aware of the term pandemic, epidemic, and now we are in the age of infodemic where we don't know what to do, which information is true and which is not true, and that is directly or indirectly affecting our lives. So understanding changing information landscape, that today we have access to more information that at any point of human history. And why are we talking about information literacy these days? Because we have access to internet, we have access to smartphones, that is, a mobile computer in your hands, and you have access to the world. So there are so many search engines. Google is not the only one, but there are so many search engines, and you can type and come across any information at any point of given time, so with your phone. And that is the reason we are talking about information literacy in the changing information landscape. Now, changing information landscape, मैं थोड़ा बता दूं. Long ago, what was the mode of news or information? It was newspapers. उससे भी पहले अगर जाएंगे तो it was word of mouth, and then came the newspapers, then came the radio, then came television, and now you have internet. So information तो था, information has been there, information dissemination के जो तरीके हैं, that has been changing over the years. So that is how, because we have internet today, so we are discussing why it is important to know information and why it is important to know the right kind of information. So what are the sources of information? Of course, family members, neighbors, friends and family sharing and forwarding messages. Everybody, I suppose, has a family group, has a friends group where din raat wahan pe good morning, good night to aata hi hai, but you get a lot of information also. Of course, there are newspapers, newspapers, radio. TV, community leaders, religious leaders, radio stations, television, newspaper, blogs, podcasts, and the internet. There are so many websites these days that you get information from. So these are the basic sources of information in the modern age, and I suppose everybody has access to some of them. But the problem is that people consume information differently, leading to different behaviors. Now, for example, somebody said, for example, let's take कल से lockdown lag raha hai, across my state or anybody's state. So I will react to that information differently than my friend. He will react to the information differently than his friend. So everybody, because you're humans, we will have this tendency to react differently. So that is what, and that is where it matters how you consume a particular piece of information. So there are various kinds of information. There is a good information and there is manipulated information. So what does good information do? It empowers you, it helps you make informed decisions, and it also helps you share verified information, and it builds trust in the society. Whereas manipulated information, it causes disruption, it causes chaos, it causes panic and violence. And there are so many speeches that you come across every day, and you see what happens. So of course there are good information and manipulated information, and there are some useless information also which comes to your phone, but then it has no effect, or it does not affect your life. For example, takes celebrity news or some entertainment news which has no meaning in your life. It doesn't empower you also, but then it doesn't harm you also. So there is another useless information. But there is a constant pinging on your phone actually takes a toll on your mental health. And that is why we are talking about the effect of information in 2023. So what is the challenges? What are the challenges ahead? Rise of online misinformation and disinformation, distortion of facts. You can see even in your home, in your school, there are people who come with some information. आपको पता नहीं होता है सही है गलत है, but it increases the pressure on you. Of course, rise of hate speech, political leaders always giving hate speech, and violence against marginalized group. Rise of public health related misinformation, including in the form of bogus and unscientific treatments, which we have seen happening in the era of COVID. Conspiracy theories, disruption of social fabric and communal harmony, breakdown of trust, and danger to free society and democracy. So, whenever there is a threat to proper and good information, it is always a threat to society and democracy. For example, next year we have elections. Unless and until you know about a candidate properly, sahi information, do you think that you will be able to vote properly? No. But that is the reason you require good information, be it politics, in electoral politics, in your school, or in everyday life. So, correct and evidence and fact are your rights in 2023 when we talk about democracy. So, what's at stake? So, misinformation can have dangerous consequences. So, we'll just run through a video. If I'll just check if it runs. Yeah. Just have a look at the video that I shall be playing, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, I is it visible?
No, ma'am. You
Yeah,
can share it again.
yeah. I hope it's visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this video does not have any audio, but you could just have a look. Yeah, so what happened, if people can tell me in the chat box, what happened and what did you see? If you want me to play the video again, I can play it once more. Okay, people say kidnapping. All right, let me tell you that yes, it looks like there was this kid was kidnapped from the street. But let me tell you, this was the video, and a couple of WhatsApp messages did a lot of damage to the country during 2016 and 17. Yes, yes, it looks like kidnapping, but I'm yet to show you the full video. Abduction, yes, kidnapping. So this, what happened in 2016-17, this video was played across the country, and people were, went berserk over this video and a couple of WhatsApp messages, and they started lynching people. Everybody has heard the term mob lynching, right? It happened across the country in that period of time. This was the video which was edited and circulated among people. And even here, Jharkhand also witnessed a lot of mob lynchings. Assam witnessed a lot of mob lynchings. This happened due to this video. So I'll play the full video now. Just watch it carefully. What happens? So the child comes back, and it says it takes only a moment to kidnap a child from the streets of Karachi, which is in Pakistan. So this was a video made for public awareness in Karachi, Pakistan by an NGO called Roshni. And because it is so easy to kidnap children from the streets of Karachi. But what happened? This video was edited and was circulated across this country only to instigate people to, which actually instigated people to kill other people, to lynch other people. And there was a huge hue and cry about this. So back to the PPT, what happened is uh, there was also two boys from Assam who got killed. They were a digital audio engineer and I think a digital artist. So they also got killed due to this video. I just shared the screen again, just one moment. So this is what happens when you don't know what is going on. So this was the video which actually took many lives. So this was a narrative, a 2017 video, which showed two men on a bike kidnapping a child, and it is a video from Karachi, Pakistan. The impact was the video became viral and led to lynchings and death of many people in several states in India. These were the people from Assam, Nilotpal and Abhijit, digital artist and an audio engineer who actually died due to mob lynching. And because they were taken as child kidnappers, but they were not. And such things also kept happening due to, in the pandemic also, misinformation leading to psychological impact. These mother and daughter duo was inside flat for like a very long period of time, and they had psychological issues. So also misinformation leads to financial loss. You keep getting those messages where it says that आपके खाते से इतना पैसा निकल गया. Many would have faced this. So, and there's also a series called Jamtara now on Netflix. So you know what happens. You have false links, you have scams, you have other kind of things happening due to, as a part of cyber fraud. But again, it starts with a misinformation only. And what happens that many people actually, without verifying the link, they open the link and then lakhs of money gets siphoned away. So this has also happened where a WhatsApp forward message had led to a violent protest after the sudden death of a 17-year-old death at a school in Tamil Nadu. The misinformation has led to school and property damage. More than 4 buses were burned and people got injured in this violent protest. So we are all vulnerable to fall for misinformation and manipulation, irrespective of our age and educational background. Let us identify the nature of misinformation. Now, it is not that if you are educated, will not fall for misinformation. We may fall for misinformation क्योंकि आजकल ऐसे पेश किया जाता है information that you actually tend to fall for it. इतना सही लगने लगता है सब कुछ. So that is a psychological thing. So what are the types of what are the types of false information? So first we come to misinformation, which is an information that is false, but the person who is disseminating it believes it to be true. आपको लगता है कि ये सही है. You don't know the consequences. You don't know कि इसका असर क्या होगा, but you think that it is right. So that is known as misinformation. Disinformation is where it is false and the person who's sharing it also knows this is false, but it is a deliberate and intentional lie. So the person sharing it knows that this is wrong. He may be aware of the consequences also, which happened in the child kidnapping video, but then it is done deliberately. And third, also, there's another kind of information called its malinformation, which is true. The piece of information is true, but then the intention for sharing it may be wrong. And the current example of a malinformation may be the Manipur issue, where these women were paraded naked. That was done, but then people started circulating it with a wrong intention, which actually created more chaos across the country. So malinformation, misinformation is where you don't know whether it is true or not, but you share it because you think it is true. Disinformation is which is false, but when you're sharing it, you know it is false and you do it deliberately. And malinformation is when the piece of information is true, yet you share it with a wrong intention, with a malintention. So what are the motives for sharing false information? There's a genuine error. कहीं कहीं कुछ बार कुछ चीजें गलती से हो जाती हैं. Satire, which is harmless entertainment, व्यंग जिसे हम कहते हैं. Publicity, propagating a cause. Financial, which is scams or spams. Ideological, propagating cause about faiths or community, which is rampant these days. Political motives, plying political narratives, which you can see next year, which will be happening in a lot, lot of volume. Psychological biases, because I think something must be true, then I will think that you should also agree to me and think that what I think is to be true. And cultural backgrounds, family orientation, cultural settings, and values also make you biased towards certain beliefs, and you tend to believe something which may not be true, and you also want other people to believe it. Now, news versus opinion. When we talk about information, the news plays a very important role in your daily life. You come across news every day in the newspapers, but there is also called something known as opinion. So, what is news and what is opinion? Can somebody tell in the chat box that what is? I'll tell you the difference, but what is the first one? Is it a news or an information? Anybody in the chat box? Government to celebrate International Women's Day from 1st to 8th March. Yes, news is a fact. Yeah, but this is an exercise. So government to celebrate International Women's Day from 1st to 8th March is a news because it directly tells you what the government is intending to do. And 8th March, we all celebrate Women's Day. The need to make cancer drugs affordable is an opinion. Explaining the decline in women's role in workforce is again a news. Now, the difference between the two is that news reporting is to give you the information and to keep you abreast of what is happening around you. And it is opinions are there to help you make up your mind about that information. News tells you what happened, opinion analyzes what happened. News believes fact speaks for themselves. So somebody said news are facts, which is true. And opinion believes informed arguments too. News is objective and impersonal, opinion is subjective and personal. So in the newspaper, the rest of the newspaper is news, but opinion is the editorial, which is an opinion. So the example, the burning example, or the simple example of opinion is the editorial in the newspaper. Okay. So how to address misinformation? Observation is the key. You have to observe. Do not be taken by apparent messaging. Step back and observe and decide if it is trustworthy information or not. What we do is we live in the post-truth era. I hope many people would know what is a post-truth era. Post-truth era is when our emotions take over and dominate the ability to see facts and evidences. So that is, we live in the post-truth, beyond truth. So our emotions actually make the decisions on our behalf. We hardly see any evidence, any facts, but जिसमें emotion ज़्यादा आ जाता है, we think that is to be true. So some things like, for example, nationalism, or nationalism इतना emotion evoke करता है, or anything that is personal also, which evokes emotion, had to be stopped there and then, and you have to step back and understand कि अगर कोई चीज इतना emotion evoke कर रहा है, it must have some other angle too. So observation is always the key. So you do not be taken by जो भी आता है आपके सामने. It is said, no, all that glitters is not gold. So actually all that comes across you is not correct information. So this is one quick exercise that you need to do. I hope everybody can answer in the chat box. In the next 1 minute, count every F in the box. There's a sentence and there is the sentences में बहुत सारे F है. You have to count and let me know in the chat box. Just say the number. This is the sentence. Just count and tell me the exact number of Fs कितने सारे हैं. You don't have all day. You just have 10 seconds. Okay, 2. Thomas Matthew says 6. 2, 2, 5, 6, 5, 2, 6, 4, 2, 3, 2, 6, 4. That's interesting. Now, see, this is not a competition. This is only to tell you that how everybody of us, processes information differently. And the correct answer is 6. So, appreciate all those who saw 6Fs, but this is nothing wrong because everybody who comes across, like I said in the start of the training also, everybody who access information accesses it differently. So yes, if you have seen 2 also, nothing wrong, but this is just an example to make you see how we process things differently. Okay, how many triangles in a triangle? This will take some time, so you have 20 seconds most probably. How many triangles in a triangle? Maths teachers, if there are any. "31," somebody said. 19, 16, 25, 14, 15, 31, 21, 37, somebody said. 16, 17, 16, 16, 31, 18, 20. This is getting interesting, but yes, I saw one correct answer, which is 24. 24 is the right answer. Again, this is an example of how we don't see exactly what a friend sees or somebody, the others see. So we always see different things from different angles. So yes, kudos to who said 24, but there are many who also said 19, 16, 36, 34, and all sort of answers. So these are these are examples which actually tell you that we actually accept information very, very different from each other. So let's come to critical thinking, which is a very important part when you analyze and when you come across any kind of information. So now this is, in my physical trainings, I make people do these things, but you have usually seen that on a street, when we see people pointing to something or running, the natural tendency is to react and run or do things that others are doing. And this phenomenon is called herd mentality, which is fitting in or being with the majority. Historical, this natural response may have helped, but predators helped us avoid predators. I'm talking about like when we were in the Stone Age, maybe. But in today's social media world, it makes us vulnerable because you have the intensity of जो बाकी कर रहे हैं आपको भी करना है. You tell your children also that वो कुएं में कूद रहे हैं तो तुम भी कूदोगे क्या? So it's the same thing that होता है ना सब कोई कर रहा है तो मुझे भी करना है. And this has become a trend on social media. You see this hashtag sari challenge, hashtag something challenge. So there are challenges every day, and this puts you at risk also. The first risk is being a victim of cyber fraud because hashtag any challenge. For example, if a hacker or a cyber fraud is sitting over there, he just have to type hashtag that challenge and he gets access to so many billions of data and pictures because hashtag sari challenge will do, and there are a lot of pictures जो आते हैं सामने sari challenge को. So for anybody who is wanting to steal your data, they will just do hashtag that challenge and they will get access to so many information. So ऐसे ही challenges होते रहते हैं. So our mentality is to fit in because our friends are doing it, so we also want to do it. But it is not that. You have to step back and observe, and you have to question why is this happening. So this is called moving away from herd mentality. I'm not saying that it is wrong, but that is a human tendency to do. So this is called herd mentality. So initially it was you suited human beings so that it kept us safe from predators. But now सब कोई जो कर रहा है वो नहीं करना है. पहले जांच ले, पहले परख ले, उसके बाद ही करें. So, and how, what makes us different from animals? Because we think, as humans, we think. This is a 17th century French philosopher called René Descartes, who said, cogito ergo sum, which says, I think, therefore I am a human being. Animals have the power to communicate, but animals do not have the power to tell stories, which we have. Animals do not have the power to tell lies. We have the power to lie. So, and lie, jhoot kya hota hai? It's kind of a story only that you make up, which is not true. So, we are more vulnerable to fake news and information when it comes to the modern world. So, we have to think because God has given us a brain and you have to think. So, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is to form informed judgment based on facts and evidence or reasoning. So even you must tell your children also that सोच के करो, जो करो सोच के करो. मम्मी पापा आप अपने बच्चों को भी बोलते होंगे कि 10 बार सोच लो करने से पहले. So this is what critical thinking in in common terms or in easy terms are. So to analyze information from different objects objectively, perspectives objectively, to evaluate information critically, to make evidence based decisions. ऐसे नहीं कि हर कोई कर रहा तो मैंने भी कर दिया. You have to see evidence whether it is worth doing or not, to become responsible citizens and to decide what to believe and do. So again, when you do things, उसके पहले जब आप बहुत सोचते हैं, for example, investments, जब आप invest करते हो किसी चीज में, you think 10 times, इस पे invest करें, return कितना आएगा, ये सही रहेगा कि नहीं, what are the risks. So this is what critical thinking is. When it comes to finance, you do a lot of critical thinking. But when it comes to information accessibility, we usually avoid it. So that is where you need to do a lot of critical thinking also when it comes to accessing information. So we strive to please others, to fit in and feel accepted because we are a society and that is how we are made up. Or we just want to please everyone. This human tendency makes us vulnerable. The truth about pleasing everyone, I know there's a story, a lot of teachers know this, that there was a father, his son, and they were riding a donkey. And the son was riding the donkey, father walking, and the people, the first village they crossed, they say that shameless run riding a donkey while father is walking. So they change. So the father is now on the donkey and the son is walking. And they also say that the father is so, he does not, he's shameless that he's riding and the son is walking. Then they both climbed up the donkey, and people say that poor donkey, what they are doing to the donkey, and they're overloading the donkey. And then they come down, and people start laughing at them, and they say that they are so stupid that there's a donkey and they are not. So the you understand what I'm trying to say, that you cannot please everyone at a time. You cannot, even in your family, you cannot please all your family members at one time. Somebody will be upset. What you need to be an independent thinker, because kuch to log kahenge. That is what people do. And there's a famous song about it also. So you have to be an independent thinker. You have to critically analyze what is coming up to you, and you need not fall for everything that is given to you. So bias plays a huge role when it comes to information literacy, because bias, the cognitive bias, confirmation bias, actually affects your decision making. And of course, it is a tendency, inclination, and prejudice towards something or against someone or something. To have personal biases is okay. It is human. We all hold our views and influenced and shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and values. But it can also let you not decide the right thing. But you have to be aware about your biases. If you go to Wikipedia also, which is not the correct source of information, you will find there are 75 kind of human biases. So you know where we are. If you see, if you know, bolte hai na ki, I'm not biased. That is called a bias blind spot. So everybody is biased, koi thoda zyada, koi thoda kam, but we are all biased with something or the other. And you need to go and chalk out that what are your biases. There must be some hidden biases also. So these bias that you have within yourselves, especially confirmation bias, it is like, if I know something, I have been told about this since my childhood, you tend to believe this is true, but it may not be true. There must be, again, different perspectives to it. So you need to deeply analyze it. So some biases in when it comes to media literacy are favoritism, leaning, preference, prejudice, unfairness, chauvinism, preconception, spin, narrow-mindedness, intolerance, one-sidedness, and bigotry. So these are some common biases that exist. And why do biases exist? Because human brain's tendency is to categorize people, information, and things based on their past experiences. Any thought that comes to your mind is not without a reason. The information that has been fed to you over a period of lifetime actually helps you decide what to do and what not to do, what to believe and what not to believe. The human brain avoid doing things that can cause anxiety, fear, stress, and pain, because it is very stressful for the human brain. So the human brain, usually it's not a natural thing to do something that causes pain to the human brain. The brain cares more about harmony than truth. बोलते हैं ना, सच कड़वा होता है. Truth is naked, truth is not pleasant. So human brain cares more about harmony, because in our brain we think that ज़्यादा peaceful है, no chaos is better than believing what is true, because truth and facts can be actually very painful at times. And ignorance and resistance to new perspectives strengthens human biases. So we know, change, kuch jab naya kuch aata hai, you don't accept it wholeheartedly. It takes times to accept new things. So we are usually, more or less, we are ignorant, and we keep away from new information that change or affects our biases. So the new perspective strengthens human biases. So आपको जब कुछ आता है and it actually tells that okay, आपको जो पहले से पता है, if it confirms that, then you are happy. Your brain, तब आपको ज्यादा कुछ stress नहीं होता है. But when there are new things coming up, your brain does resist. So we'll talk about two most important terms in information literacy, which is filter bubble and echo chamber. Filter bubbles are those search results on your phone, on Facebook feed, or your YouTube channel that you watch, which actually works based on algorithms. The search results that you get on your phone based on algorithms. So, for example, if you're seeing, say, suppose meditation videos, so you will get those results. You will get similar results doing meditation videos, or somebody watching serial, they will get the same results as serials. Somebody watching dance videos, they will get the same similar dance videos. So it is actually the algorithms which decide what you're watching and what you should watch on your phone. So when the algorithm decides what you should watch and they give you a specific result, it is known as filter bubble. So as the term suggests, filter karke, in a bubble. So that is what filter bubble is. Okay, there's no echo chamber. I'll tell you about echo chamber also. Echo chamber is when you actually are attracted to something that goes with your biases or what you want to hear. For example, WhatsApp is a echo chamber. So something, you are in a chamber that echoes your thoughts, and you are your brain is at harmony with it. So that is known as echo chamber. So you will actually see you watch a specific channel, news channel. You watch specific things that actually go with your specific biases or belief system. So that is known as echo chamber. So for example, YouTube and Facebook are you also see ads. We think we are smart, but we are actually not, because your location, Google knows about you everything. The phone that you use, whether it's iPhone or Android phones, the data that you share, the operators knows everything. So where you're going, if your location is on, they know everything, what you're watching, what you're not watching, what you are rejecting, they know everything. For example, e-commerce websites also. So we think we are smart, but we are not. We are actually the product that technology companies are using. So echo chamber is something where technology or algorithm doesn't work there, but you tend to make your own chambers and you be there in the belief system जो आपको अच्छा लगता है. So for example, news channels and WhatsApp are the most common examples of echo chambers. So test yourself for hidden biases. As I said, Wikipedia has 75 kinds of biases. You can go and check on Google and just explore your hidden biases. So most common types of biases is tendency to do things because many other people do, right? The herd mentality, favoring information that confirms your existing beliefs, a widely held set of implicit biases that discriminate against a gender or community, a tendency to believe things we hear or see repeatedly. होते हैं ना बार बार बोलो दिन है दिन है दिन है रात के समय भी. So one time you will say ठीक है अच्छा दिन है. So how the branding, how the companies work on branding, because they try to feed you the same thing over and over again, and then you tend to believe those things. And the fifth one is the common is the tendency to see oneself as less biased than other people, and this is called as you have a bias blind spot. So what kind of bias is this? If you can just type in the chat box. 10-20 seconds for you, because many people also type, they take time to type. So what kind of bias is this that you're seeing on screen? Yeah, boy girl Reshamji, but what kind of bias is this? The boy girl bias is known as what? Gender bias. Karan Kiran Tripathi says gender bias, gender discrimination. Yes, this is gender bias, where boys are wearing uniforms and going to school, while girls are पानी लाने जा रहे हैं and they're working. So this is called as gender bias. So मेरा देश महान, मेरा गांव महान, implicit biases we carry for your village, town, country, culture, and so many other things because we believe in it. बचपन से हमें कहा गया है कि this is what also evokes a lot of emotion. So we tend to believe certain things and will not be away from believing certain things. So do you believe what you see, or do you see what you believe? Now this is a question to you. Whether you believe जो दिखता है वही सही है, आप उस पे विश्वास करते हैं, या आप जो विश्वास करते हो वही दिखते हो. So this is a very tricky question. So how do we exercise critical thinking? Of course, pay attention, observe. Attention is the most important thing when it comes to analyzing information and exercising critical thinking. So now we'll gradually coming to how to verify information, because again, as artificial intelligence takes over, it is already penetrated in our lives, as you see, but now you have to take steps of how to identify those things. So now, for example, you have a message in your phone. What you do? Open, see, read and verify before sharing. And how will you do it? You always need to ask these three questions when there is a message on your phone. Who's behind the information? किसने भेजा है? If you get information from your unknown numbers, then okay, tata, bye bye, just forget about it. If you get some important information from your friends, relatives, or anybody, just ask, are they authoritative source for that kind of information? If not, then just forget about it. What is the evidence that has been provided along with the uh, information? Is there any evidence to support that claim? Or what do other sources say? Is it only the message which is saying, or other sources are also saying the same thing? And there's a thing called lateral reading, which is like not only concentrating on what you receive, but you go to the internet and search. And like you do in math, science subjects, that you don't only teach children from one book. There are other reference books also, right? So you go and you explore what others are saying about it, what other sites are saying about it. So this should be date and time, not data and time. Always, what happens, the most common mistakes when it comes to news on the internet, and especially if there's a posted news on Facebook or any other website, it is like you only get to read the headline. And sorry, only reading the headline, you make a judgment that, oh, this has happened. Few people, only a handful of people will go click on that link and see the date and the time of filing that news. Many a times, it happens so that 5-year-old news, 2-year-old news, especially of human hatred or communal rights, are shared from websites to go viral, because these things evokes a lot of emotion, and these things go viral. And you know why people go viral? Because they earn a lot of money, fame, and they get a lot of clicks on their channels. So people do it. We few people, whenever there is a news which instigates a lot of emotion, please go inside that and watch the date and the time. Sometimes it's an old news which is being circulated again and again. You need to, comments are very interesting at times, and if this is a fake news or a fake information, then many people like us, fact checkers like us, go and comment and report that story also. Somebody says that it is fake and the real incident is this, or it is an old story. So checking comments is a very interesting thing. It's a very fun thing also, and very important thing to do also. So always, because websites are a part of our lives now, be it education or accessing any kind of information, we do access a lot of websites for reference materials. So always go to, and always check it before actually, believing in it. Because now Google also give red flags if it is not HTTPS, or it has some kind of information that is not true, or maybe somebody has reported. So Google now gives red flags. So you need to check the domain name also, which is, if it's .com, .in, .org. So the domain is very important. About us section, who is the publisher, editor, email, phone number, because anybody who is disseminating true information will always talk about themselves, other than people who are disseminating fake news or false information, usually keep their low profile and they don't talk about who they are. Of course, go to the author and pay attention to the article's author. It might be satire also. There are websites called Faking News, Foxy News, and they will be very near to news like websites, but people fall for it because they are satire, or satire. They are harmless, but then those are not true. So you may also be falling for it. So date, please check the date when first published. It is used out of context or within the context. And spelling errors. Usually when there is a mistake or a false news, usually there are a lot of spelling errors. This you can take a screenshot of, because this is, these are organizations like AFP, Boom, Digitai, Fact Crescendo, India Today. The Vishwas News again, this is an initiative of Dainik Jagran. They do fact checking in Hindi. So if you want, local mein to you won't get that kind of response, but national mein, if you want to do some fact check, you can send messages to them and they will respond to you with the correct and fact check news. So these is, you can just take a screenshot of this. So the Healthy Indian project is very interesting. Third from the last, anything related to health misinformation, because we have seen health misinformation during the pandemic. So HIP, the Healthy Indian project, is a website which actually debunks or pre-bunks health related misinformation. So this is these are the, and there are others coming up also who do a lot of fact checking for you. So yeah, so you need to ask who's behind the information, what is the evidence, and what do other sources say. Now the very, because you are teachers, you will tell your students also, but you're not fact checkers. So I will give you a very quick run through with what to do when you come across any information. It takes seconds to search anything on Google. Am I right? So it takes seconds to search anything on Google. So as soon as you come across anything, just go to Google and type the keywords. You will get results. Now, there are so many websites and there are so many media houses these days who actually do fact checking very, very fast. So you will now you get messages if there is a message which is prone to fake news, you get messages from Indian Express, from Boom, from Alt News that this is a circulated fake message, and this is so you get evidence also what happened, when was it first published. So you get all the material when you do a simple Google search. Of course, Google is not the only search engine. There is Bing, there is Yahoo, and there is another site called Yandex. So if you don't get these things on Google, if it's complicated, you may get in Yandex also. But you have to type the correct keywords. So do a simple search on web. Look at what other sources are saying. Check authoritative sources and official websites. So you go to Google, and this is a fake news check on the XBB variant of Corona. So this is how you type the message, and this is how you get the results as shown on screen. So yeah, so Ministry of Health XBB variant Twitter handle. Oh, by the way, let me tell you that Twitter, many countries are reporting it also. UK, for example, recently it reported. Twitter, now called X, most is the biggest platform where misinformation is shared rampantly. When you compare, of course, there are other channels also, but Twitter is actually competing like anything. It is one platform that shares the maximum amount of false information. So like you see that Ministry of Health fake news, and it shows that they did not talk about. So this is also Ministry of Health posted that let's pay attention to the following information. Everybody advised to wear a mask, because so this was the message that was being circulated, and the Ministry of Health came up with a statement saying that this is fake and misleading. So somebody made this PDF and made this image and was circulating on the thing. So you just need to do a small search. So yes, you get these kinds of messages also. Of course, uh, your electricity power will be disconnected tonight at 9:30 p.m. You have not, you have not you have not paid previous month bill was not updated, you have not paid the bill. So of course you get messages for kaun banega crorepati also, but these are misleading. So now you can see that these are unknown sources. You need not check ye to, this is a country, a different country only, so you need not receive. Also here in WhatsApp you have seen that now you can actually differentiate between original message, forwarded message, and too many forwarded messages. So there's an arrow that comes when it is forwarded, and there are double arrows when it is too many forwarded too many times. So this is also done by WhatsApp now. Now there are many kinds of memes that come across. रक्तदान करने युवक गए और रक्तदान के बाद जूस नहीं मिलने पर खुद की खून पी डाली. So these are memes for fun, but many people also believe it to be true. So this was a claim, but the fact was that the story shared in the post was published by Pehchan Faridabad, a website, in July 2020. And the story originated from a satirical article, The Foxy, 3 years ago. And this is not a real story, but people circulated it a lot. When there was a crisis, there are a lot of, even every city, I suppose, has this kind of message being circulated that this is a list of plasma donors and you can actually contact them. But this doesn't happen. This list specifically was a 2016 Facebook post and a blog post, but it became viral during COVID, that these are the people. So now Google Lens is one platform where you can verify images also. Just take the image, open Google Lens. You can have a screenshot also. You can upload the image in Google Lens, and you can see whether the image is correct or not. So summing up, there is a way to do video verification also, but that is complicated. And what you need to, because videos also go a lot of viral. So in case of viral videos, what you need to do is you need to pay attention to the kind of dress they're wearing, the temperature, the landmarks, the vehicle registration number actually plays a lot of role. Because for example, if something happens in Delhi, then the registration number of the car and the vehicles would be DL, right? Not Madhya Pradesh mein agar hoga to MP hoga. So many times things happen in another cities and they become viral, claiming it to be from some other city. So that you need to pay attention. So in videos, do pay a lot of attention on what is happening, what language are they using, what dialect are they using. So that is very important. So summing up the entire training, whenever an information comes to you, always observe, always observe signs, shop names, car registration, landmarks in the post. Be wary of stories that don't link to any sources. If it evokes extreme emotions, you need to be very careful. Search text on image with Google Lens to verify information. Engage to find where the original photo video was posted, as it can be taken out of geographical and cultural context. Recognize the difference between facts and opinions. Verify, always verify information before sharing with others. Empathize and discuss with your family and friends about dangers of misinformation. Now that you know how to observe, how to stop, how to check, it doesn't mean that you will belittle others. You have to be patient when you're informing your friends, family, relative that this is how misinformation spreads. So you need to be patient with your nearest and dearest ones also. So I hope there are no questions. If you have any questions, you can ask in the chat box, or else this is the end of the training. Sorry, it is coming so fast. Ma'am, can you just check? There's a question, I think, can Google something, but I missed it.
Okay, ma'am. Just a second.
It says, can Google do something? It was so fast. So just stopping the share screen.
Ma'am, the question is, can Google Lens translate data?
No, Google Lens cannot translate data. It can translate the language. There's an app on your phone now which can translate the language. So जैसे Google Translate होता है Hindi to English or any language, it can translate the language given. If you take a picture now, in some phones, not in all phones, so there's an app now, but no, it doesn't translate data. No, not as of now. Maybe new future will have. Everything is scary right now, right? Yeah, any other question? But translate data as in what? Because there it can mean several things. Okay, what I'll do is, if you have any questions, you can just mail it to me at antarainjsr@gmail.com, and I'll try to reply back with questions you have on information literacy. So it is, I'll just type in the chat box. It is, yeah, so this is my ID, and you can just mail me your questions and I'll get back to you. Again, there was something difference between.
Ma'am, participants are asking that what is the difference between the information and knowledge?
Information and knowledge, see, knowledge, any kind of knowledge is information, but all information is not knowledge. So information is something that will empower you in your daily life. Knowledge is a very long term thing, right? It but like your teachers, you have knowledge, you teach children, but you don't teach them information. Information is any piece of information that helps you in your daily lives. So that is what, so knowledge is a very thin line of difference, but that is it. So every kind of knowledge is information, but all information is not knowledge. It's a deep understanding of a subject. I think knowledge is more deep of an understanding than information. Yes, so I think that's it. And I've shared my email address. So if you have any question, you can mail it to me and I'll try to reply back. So that is it, ma'am. I think I'm done.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for your patience.